Alright, so today I will be explaining how to use the job costing module within the Cougar Mountain software. You might be using this module if, for example, your company manufactures products or it has custom orders that it produces. The company I'm working in is a small screen printing business, so job costing is useful for them when they have a bunch of custom orders coming in that range from 1 t-shirt to 500 t-shirts. The job costing module is really useful. So I guess we can get into job costing. The first thing you'll want to do is make sure the job costing module is integrated with the other modules you'll be using. At the bottom of the screen down here, you can see which modules are integrated and which aren't. I have mine set for all of them except purchase order because I don't have purchase order installed. But if you don't have them integrated and you want them integrated, you go to the options menu, module preferences, and then the integration tab, and then change the settings there. While we're in module preferences, you'll also want to take a look at the work in process and expense accounts you'll be using through the job costing process. So first we've got the expense accounts. Honestly, these are pretty straightforward how I set them up. You can just look over those and then set it up however your company sees fit. Then the work in process accounts, same thing, they're titled pretty straightforward. And for those who don't know, work in process is an asset account that you'll move items into that you're working on. So for example, if you have a bunch of raw materials that you've ordered, and then once you begin the process of combining those raw materials to create the finished product, while the materials are being worked on, they're in the work in process account. And that's before they can be moved into finished goods inventory account. So we've got those. The next tab is the invoicing accounts. This is where you indicate what percentage of the bill you want to go to which sales account. So for mine, I just want the entire thing, the entire purchase price the customer pays to go into the general sales account, so I put 100% here, and these will all add up to get the total percentage, so you'll want to make sure that this down here equals 100. And that's pretty much everything for the module preferences, so we can close out of that and actually start creating a job. So to do that, you go up to the job menu and job management. First thing, you'll enter a job number. So we'll just say that. A description, I'll say that we have to make the t-shirts for the girls basketball team shirts. And you can specify the project manager here. Then you say what the job type is, either make to order or make to stock. Obviously make to order, someone came in and ordered these specific items. Make to stock, you just want to have them on hand. In this case, we'll do make to order. Then this deposit received area is if you get a deposit down on the job before it's completed, so you can keep track of how much they've already given you so you don't charge them twice. And we'll get into that a little later. Then you can say if it's taxable, the customer, I'll double click there, we'll say it's the girls basketball team. Then PO number and the contact if you want to put those in. The next thing we'll get into is the scheduling. When we plan to start, when we plan to finish, and then the day the customer wants it. So let's say we plan to start today, and then we plan to complete it Friday, and the customer wants it by Saturday. Then you'll check this box if the job is complete, but it's not, so we can't check that box. And then the date completed will come in when the job is complete, and then this percentage complete will also start coming in once we actually start working on the job. Next thing is we'll say how many units we're going to produce. So we'll say we're going to make 10 shirts total, and we want to charge $15 per shirt. This is all estimated. These numbers, they really don't matter all too much. It's what happens down in the detail that is what will actually be charged. This is just an estimate to get an idea. And so, once we've got all this set up, these will automatically come in when we start working on the job. So now we can go down to the detail area and start setting the job up. So, let's see. Oh. In the detail area, you first start by creating phases for your jobs. So the company I'm working in, as I already said, creates apparel with custom designs. So I chose to have 2 phases, ordering materials and labor. These phases are just templates, so you can change them as each order will differ from customer to customer. And if you also want to put everything in one phase, that's totally fine, because the phases, they really don't make a difference. They just kind of split things up and keep things organized. So that's why I will be creating the 2 phases. So we'll start with the first phase template, and that's ordering materials. So we just double click here, add a new phase. We'll call it ordering materials. Okay, and the description also ordering materials, and we'll say we are producing, 10 shirts, and we want to charge $15 per shirt. Again, these numbers really don't make a difference. What happens down in the detail area does. So these phase templates are created by cost codes, and there are 4 different types of cost codes: material, subcontractor, general, and process. The material obviously is when indicates the cost of the materials you'll be using in the job. You will use the subcontractor code if you hire someone else to do the job, or maybe if you rent equipment. The process code is used to record equipment and labor costs, so your employee wages and things like that. And then the general code is everything else, just kind of the catch-all. So this, for example, this company could host this big celebration dinner after they finish completing a huge job, and then assign the costs of that to this job in particular. So this is the ordering materials phase. I will be needing materials, so I will use the material cost code to order the shirts and then the transfers that go on the shirts. So we indicate there, then we double click and add a new code. I'll be needing small and medium t-shirts, so we'll start with the smalls and just call this one smalls. The stock number, I'll need the small gray t-shirt, and as you can see, I already have some on hand, and I'll show you how to deal with that. So select that. The AP vendor that I've set up in the inventory module automatically comes in, as does the cost of the materials when I bought them. So I need 5 of these, and it estimates the cost to be $10, and let's say our budget for these is $10. Also, then we've got the price estimate, and there's 3 different ways you can price them: by the dollar amount, marking it up from the cost, and then marginal. I like to just use the dollar amount, keep it pretty straightforward. And this price estimate is not per unit, it's total. So if I wanted to charge $15 per shirt, and, back that up. The total cost of the shirts I want to charge is $15, and that's including what the transfers on them and also the shirt itself. So for the shirt itself, let's say I only want to charge $10 for a blank shirt. And as I said, it's total, so $5 times, or 5 shirts times $10 is $50. So I'm estimating the price of these shirts to be $50. And then we get into the scheduling. Let's say we need them on day 3 of the job. We'll start on day 0 and complete on day 3. So we will save that one. And that's the first part of our ordering materials phase. Then we'll need to do the mediums, so materials, and add another cost code. Call this one mediums. The stock number, gray t-shirts, mediums. AP vendor comes in, cost comes in. I'll need 5, not 2. The cost estimate is 10. Budget we'll say is also 10. The price estimate will say $1 or $1 amount, and just like the other one, we'll want to charge $10 for the blank t-shirts, so $50 total there. And we need these on day 4. We'll start on day 0, complete on day 4. Save that one. So we've got the 2 material codes for the t-shirts. Now we'll need a final material code for the transfers. So again, we'll add a new material code. This code, we'll call it transfers. You will go find the stock number, and as we already have it here, and we don't have any on stock, so we'll actually have to order those. So there's those. We'll need 10, because we're making 10 shirts. Since we don't have any on hand, we have to estimate the cost. They'll be, let's say, they'll be $3 each. So 30, and we'll say the budget is 40, just in case we're wrong on how much they'll cost. And again, price estimate, $1. Let's charge $5 per transfer. So 10 transfers times $5 is 50. And we'll need those on day 4 of the job. Start on day 0 and complete on day 4. So we will save that. And that is all we do for the ordering materials phase. As you can see, numbers came in here. So this total price consists of, we're creating 10 units, price per unit is 15, and the budget is 20, estimated cost is 20, Just kidding. There, now it's updated. It didn't have the transfers in there yet. That makes more sense. The budget is 60. We're estimating the cost to be 50 because remember in that transfers material code we weren't sure on the price, so we made our budget a little higher. And our price estimate is 150. So we will save that. Alright, and that phase comes in. Our second phase is labor. So we will go in and add a new phase, call it labor. And the description, labor. So units produced here is a little strange, but again, these parts really don't matter all too much. It's just to get an idea. And we'll say units produced, we are going to use 1 hour to make the shirt. So 1 hour is our units produced. And let's say we'll charge them, our employee gets $10 an hour, so we'll charge $10 as the price. So we'll add our cost code. This time it'll be a process code because this is employee wages we're talking about. Go in here, add a new one. Code name, we'll call it labor. And the description, put in labor. Units produced, 1 hour, so 1 unit. And we'll have to put in the labor unit, so again, 1 hour. And we're estimating the cost to be $10. Then you would also add in any equipment units, the equipment cost, any overhead that you want to charge, and whatnot. So we'll say the budget for this is $10 as well. And price estimate, again, I just use the dollar amount, keep it pretty simple. And like we already said, we'll say we'll just charge them $10 to cover the costs. And we'll need this on day 5 of the job. And we'll start on day 5 and complete it on day 5 since it only takes an hour. So we can save that. And our labor phase is all set up, it's all done. And as you can see here, these numbers came in, budget's 10, cost estimate's 10, and price estimate is 10 as well. So we'll save this, labor's done. And there it is, it came in. So now I can look over here. Our cost estimate is 60. Our price estimate is 160. It was 150 with just the materials, but then we added in that $10 of labor, so it brought it up to 160. We haven't received any payments, we haven't started working on anything, so we don't have any work in process. And that is pretty much everything that goes into creating the job. And that's on the detail tab. You'll see other tabs next to it. The history tab will show you various events that have already happened within the job, like what phase was completed. And the expense accounts, work in process accounts, and invoicing accounts tabs will let you change the defaults that we already set up in module preferences. The change orders and notes tabs let you enter notes about the project. And then the attachments tab will let you add attachments like progress pictures. And the setup of this job is complete, so we can hit save. And then exit out of this. As a side note, if you wanted to see what the other cost code boxes looked like, you could go to options, cost code templates, and look at them. We already looked at material and process, so subcontractor, I mean, they basically all look the same. This one looks pretty much like the one for material code, and cost code template, the general one, also looks like the material code. So that's that. So now our setup of our job is complete, but let's say the customer gave you a deposit before the work is even completed. So this is where that deposit received box up in the header of the information comes into play. You can go to invoicing, make to order, because we're making to order, not to stock. Enter invoices in order entry. And hit OK if this select batch box comes up. And we'll log in as a salesperson. Alright, so our invoice window opens, as you would see in the sales module. So what we need to do is go up to new invoice and choose the job. In this case, we've got ABC123 for the girls basketball team. And the invoice type, it's only going to let you choose deposit because the job isn't even done yet. So choose deposit only, enter the amount that they gave you, let's say it was 50 bucks. And then hit OK. And everything will come in. If you want to add the contact, anything up here, you can. Then you can choose the tender that they gave you. Let's just say they gave cash. And then we will hit done. Okay, and that one's that. So then we can close out of here. It'll bring us back to the job cost module. And then we can go to invoicing, and actually you can print the edit report. And it should show the deposit right here. So once you make sure that everything is correct, close out of that, go to invoicing, make to order, and then post that invoice if you want. Hit OK. Might take a while. Any day now. Oh, here we go. So now I can view the posting report. It's been posted. Great. To exit out of all these posting reports. Now if you go back to job management, and find your job that you're working on, deposit received will be right there. The $50 that we just posted. So now that we've got all of that, the next steps are to actually carry out the duties of the job. So our first phase was ordering materials, but we already had the t-shirts on hand and don't have to order them, but we still need to include the cost of those in the job. So in this case, exit out of your job, you would go up to the cost activity menu, cost activity, and cost activity. And select your batch. Okay, here we go. It's thinking, but it's getting there. So here you'll indicate which job you already have materials for and the phase. So our job was ABC123. The phase was ordering materials. The cost code was material. And then we'll need to say which material code it was. So let's start with the smalls. And the stock number will automatically come in. Reference number, I mean, you can put whatever you want. I'll just put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And the transaction description, I'll just say they were on hand. And then we'll say how many units there were. We already had all 5, so we're good. And we can save that one. And we also had the medium, so we'll just have to do this again. It's the same job, same phase, material code, mediums, stock number comes in, reference number 654321. Transaction description, again, on hand. So the units, we've got 5, and we can save that. And that's all it's basically doing adjustments for the job. And that's all the adjustments we have to do, so we can X out of that. And if you go to cost activity, we can then print the edit report and then post the activity. But before we do that, we can, if we needed to, we could either reverse an activity or transfer an activity. If, for example, we found something on the edit report that was wrong, or on the posting, actually the posting report that we saw was wrong, and we needed to reverse it, that's where a reversal activity would come into play. And we'll say the job phase, reference number, what happened, and fill in all the information you'll need there, the original transaction, stuff like that. Or if we go to cost activity, we could also transfer an activity, and that we'll use if we accidentally posted something to one job and it needed to be on another. So again, job, transfer from job, and the job number, the phase, material code, or I guess if it's material, you choose the type, and then the code, the original transaction, everything that we saw in the reversal pretty much, but then at the bottom you also say what job you want it to go to, and the phase, and the code. Well, we don't need to do any of that, so we will just close out of that, and go back up here, and print the edit report of the adjustments we made. Alright, as we can see, all the information that we entered, so job, phase, cost code, everything. So the total cost, 20 bucks, because we had 10 shirts and each of them were $2. You'll see the reference number, the transaction description, the date, everything like that. So that all looks good. Close out of that, and now we can post our activity. Hit OK. It takes its time. Alright. We can look at the posting report and reference number, job number, everything you need. So, looks good. Close out of that. Close, close, close. Alright. So if we went to go look at our job again, job management, ABC 123. Alright, we will see that our phase 1 is 33% complete, or our job in total is 33% complete. Phase 1's 40% complete. These first two material cost codes are 100% complete because we just figured them out. And everything looks good, so now we can move on to ordering our transfers. Alright, so for the transfers, we don't have any on hand, so we'll have to go and order those. So we can close out of this and go up to cost activity, but this time we will enter bills in accounts payable and enter bills. And then we will select the batch. Alright, so we will choose the vendor we are ordering from. In this case, Transfer Express. We'll have our transfers, invoice number 1234, the PO number, and then you can say if there's a discount. This automatically came in because that's how we had it set up with the vendor, but let's say in this case there is no discount. Then all this, it's pretty straightforward. We'll say the type. This is the material code that it will correspond with. The job is ABC 123. The phase, we are still in ordering materials phase. The cost code is the transfers. We'll need 10 units, and then we'll have to put in the cost. Let's say it was $3 per unit. Then you can see the total cost, and there is no discount, but it doesn't, since this says 0, it doesn't really matter if this is checked, but I'll uncheck it anyway. So our invoice total is $30. And then if we needed to add anything else for the job, then we could, but it is good, so that's all we needed, so we can save that. Alright, and then we can exit out of here, go back to cost activity, or enter bills, sorry. We can print the edit report. And hit OK. Alright, well, it looks like we ordered our transfers. We didn't even have to go into the accounts payable module. We could just do it straight from the job cost module, which is handy. And now we can post that bill. Hit OK. And we always post the bills because I'm posting these bills, I guess, because that will increase our percentage complete on the job. If these bills weren't being posted, if that cost activity wasn't posted, then the percentage of the job complete would still be at 0. But now our bills posted, looks good. You can close out of that, close out of all of these posting reports. And if you wanted to check, you can go to job management, the job number. Alright, we are almost there. Before it was at 33%, now we are at 83.33%. Now the only thing left to do is the labor phase. The ordering materials phase is complete, and let's say that now the however long 3 days or whatever have passed, and our materials, we now have them, so we can actually start putting everything together. So to do this, to account for our labor hours, we need to get into the payroll module. So we can close out of our job, and we will open payroll. So we go to enter payroll, process payroll, and add your employee, add a description, check, comment, anything up here. I'm not really concerned with it right now, but we'll add our employees to the grid. Got 2 employees. Let's just add this one for now. So the total units we'll have to edit. So we go into edit, and this window pops up. So first we'll use, let's see, alright, we've got the pay rate selected. The department we'll say is the production department because we were producing those girls basketball shirts. Then we'll go down here. This is why job cost needs to be integrated, otherwise this would not show up on here. So we need to allocate our hours that we worked on this job and assign them to the job we worked on. So we choose the job number. It's for the girls basketball. We choose the phase, labor. We choose the process code, labor. And there were no equipment units, so that says 0. Units produced, we'll say 1. There's 1 labor hour. And regular units, we'll say we worked the 1 hour on these shirts, just as anticipated. Alright, so that adds that in, and so far the pay amount is $10 because this employee receives $10 an hour. And then we can go to new and save changes, yes. And then let's say that's the only job that person worked on. So, but they worked a total of 20 hours this week. But so far we've only accounted for 1. Now we're creating another page, I guess, to update the rest of the hours that this employee worked, but we don't want to assign these ones to that job. We need to split the hours up. So put in the pay rate. We'll say they worked in sales the other 19 hours, so we don't need to fill in any of this. And we'll say that they worked 19 hours. Now, because we put in these 19, you'll see total units increase to 20. We already have 1 hour assigned to that job, and now we have 19 more. And the pay amount on this page is $190. The total is $200. So we'll say we are done here. Total units 20, net pay, everything looks good. So we can go to next. And the tricky thing about payroll is that the job itself won't update until payroll is posted. So I'm going to take you through payroll posting. But if you do this part, make sure that your printer is unplugged or turned off or whatever, because otherwise you'll be printing out reports and you'll be printing out checks, because you can't post payroll until your checks have been printed, which is why it's a little annoying, but we'll figure it out. So we could view the transaction edit report. I'll say it probably looks good, so we can just go to next. This is where it wants you to print the checks, because you'll get an error message that says check number can't be blank if you try to post your payroll without printing the checks. So that's why I'm saying unplug your printer, make sure it's off, something like that, so that it doesn't print these things. Then you'll have to go in later to your computer devices and printers and clear and cancel all the printing in there. Otherwise, when you do plug in your printer, it'll just start printing these things off automatically. So my printer's unplugged. I'll just hit next. I think it did that wrong, but we'll see. I should have hit OK and I didn't. Let's hit next again. Next, we'll see what happens. I'm probably going to get an error message there. No, alright, hold on. Let me redo that. So enter payroll, process payroll. I did exactly what you're not supposed to do. Alright, go to next. Go to next. Alright, now when we get to this print payroll checks area, you need to hit OK. And it thinks it's printing, but it's not. And it takes a second. Alright. Now it thinks it's printed. Now I can go to next. And next. And next again. One more time. Now I think I can post. Alright, it looks like it posted. Let me just... Yep, no error messages here, so it looks like we are good to go. X out of that, X out of that, X, 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 X. Only 100 times. Now, that one labor hour should be assigned to our job. We can go back to job cost, job management, and check to make sure. And it has. So now the job is done. As you can see up here, percentage complete is 100%. The actual cost is 60, and the price to estimate is 160. And we can get into all this. We'll get into this more in a second. As you can see here, it says our remaining work in process is $60, which is our cost. And this will disappear once you post the invoice. That tells it that these goods are finished. So in order to do that, X out of here, go up to invoicing, make to order, and enter invoices in OE. Order entry. Set up the batch. Let it think. Alright, sign in. So, just like with the deposit, we go up to new invoice, choose the job number, and this time the invoicing type you can choose is automated, through transaction date, detailed, or deposit only. Obviously, this is not a deposit. And between these three, there really is no difference, so I just stick with the automated one. And you can put in an amount here, but it doesn't make a difference from what I've seen, so let's just say 150. Hit OK. So, as you can see here, everything has come in. The small t-shirts, the medium t-shirts, and the transfers are all being invoiced. So the transaction total is $150. That's if we didn't want to charge for labor. We could charge for labor and just add that to the invoice. Now the total is $160, so let's say we charge them for the labor. And let's go to the tender. Let's say this was an AR charge, and now we can hit done. Alright, that's all good. So we can close out. We have invoiced that. And then we'll need to go post that invoice. So you can print the edit report, make sure it looks good, there's no mistakes. And that's exactly what I wanted to charge, so looks good. Go back to invoicing, make to order, and post invoices. Hit OK. It takes its time. It really takes its time. Okay, here we go. So now we can view the posting report. It's posted, looks good. Exit out of all the other posting reports. Go to job management, and we'll check it out. Choose that job. Alright, now that our invoice has been posted, you can see the remaining work in process is 0. So if we edit this job, now we can check this box saying that it is complete. But if, let's say, the customer picked up this stuff and they said, oh yeah, wait, I actually want to order 10 more shirts, then later you could come back into this, uncheck this, add some more phases, cost codes, whatever, and then work on the job some more. But for now, let's say this job's complete. Let me save it. And that's that. Then if you want to see how much your customer owes, you can go into the accounts receivable module, and click customer maintenance, and search. Obviously, as you can see, they only owe $110 out of the $160 because of that $50 deposit they made. And as a side note, when you receive payment, you'll have to make an adjustment if a deposit was made. So to receive the payment, you're in accounts receivable, go to transaction, enter payments and adjustments, choose the batch, then you'll indicate the customer number. This was the girls basketball team. The transaction code, this is a payment. Description comes in, source document, amount, we'll get to that in a second. So the reference to pay will open up is the job, so amount remaining is $160. However, you have to apply an adjustment, and that is the deposit that they made right there. So the amount that, let's say they made the correct amount, that's 110. And you can enter the bank account. And I believe that's everything you'll need. So you can save that, exit out of there. You can print the edit report, but we'll just post. We'll say that it's looks good to the screen. And they paid. So now if you go in to customer maintenance, it should say that they don't owe a thing. So that's good. And finally, if we go back to job cost, you can see there is a reports menu. There's a bunch of different reports you can create in the job module. The job report, you can see the scheduling and financial information for every job or just a specific one. The job schedule lets you view, obviously, the scheduling of your job or jobs. The job listing report lets you view descriptions, phases, and costs for each job. The job requirements report lets you view quantities and data for each cost code in your jobs. The job price report lets you see the price estimates for your jobs. The cost activity analysis lets you view the cost information within your jobs. The work in process report shows how much is left in your work in process accounts. And then the estimated versus actual cost report lets you compare estimated and actual costs for your jobs. So now that you've made it through this extremely long video, I hope you now have a better understanding of the job costing module, because that's basically all there is to it. So thank you for watching and sticking through it.